Hello everybody, welcome back. As hinted at last week, I said this week I'd be doing a video on travel, more specifically China. Here we are, this is it. Next month I'll be traveling around, and like when I went traveling last time, I'll be swapping to shorts because it's much easier to process when I'm on the hoof. My grand idea for this week was to look at the entirety of China, and I mean on a macro scale, so not which cafe you're going to, but rather which city or region, and determine which are the best places to go, and ahead of time rank them on which ones look the most exciting and which look least exciting. Then when I'm out traveling, I'll be able to document sort of what I'm experiencing there and how well it correlates. And then when I come back, I can say, you know, oh, I thought the Terracotta Warriors was going to be awesome, but it actually wasn't that good. I'd rather have an extra day in Hong Kong or what have you. I'm lucky enough to have a good chunk of time in China, so I can pretty much cover the entire highlight reel that you'll see anywhere on the internet. But that being said, it is an absolutely massive country. You know, it's like the size of America or the size of Europe. So there are a few spots that I'm not going to see, but I'm going to go into those sort of here and why I'm okay with missing it, and then create a tier list. Without further ado, let's zoom in and see what we've got. Now, the good thing is they've built airports in useful locations, so you can actually go straight into a city with cool stuff. In my case, I'm flying from the UK, so Xi'an, which is actually Xi'an. I'm going to butcher all these pronunciations, by the way, but Xi'an and Beijing are sort of the closest to the UK, so I'm going to fly into Xi'an, do this loop, and fly out of Beijing. If you're doing a similar trip, you obviously want to position your airports such that you're not doing a longer distance on the ground if you can help it. With all these places, so you might not know Xi'an, but you might have heard of the Terracotta Warriors, so there's a lot of places here that you'll know that you don't know that you know, sorry. Starting off with Xi'an, we have the Terracotta Warriors, and you can also get a train, so this is about 40 minutes out, and this is to a place called Huashan Mountain. So this is the place, it's got the most dangerous hike, quote unquote, in the world. I actually had to Google this one, and it's been sort of done the rounds on the internet, but you essentially strap into this and you walk along this sort of skywalk, and I'm ignoring whether I actually do this or not because I'm terrified of heights, but yeah, it's pretty wild. I should mention that there are a few places not on my list, so for example this 28 will flashes up with a parking lot, but we'll do those at the end so I can delete them off this list. From Xi'an you get a train, and this will take you to a place called Chengdu. So from Chengdu there is this day trip you can do, so you go north to this place called Juizhaogao, this valley here, and this is famed for having immaculately flat and clear lakes. So there's a bit of wind on this one, you can see from the ripples, but on some days it does just turn to complete glass, which is supposedly really cool. So this is about a 2-hour train there and back. Now in Chengdu, not really sure what's famous about the city per se, but it is famous for this panda research base. So they have they've got a really cool entrance gate from memory, yeah, that looks like a panda, and essentially this park has a sort of significant impact on the panda population in the world apparently. There's also this little monastery to check out, which looks like it's just on a road, so look at that, lovely. So I'll be going there. Then from Chengdu, again, this might be a place that you don't know that you know, so you get a train across to Chongqing. So I've not put the city on the list here, but there is a place called Hongye Cave, and essentially this is well, it's just really well lit and there's lots of old cool restaurants. So Chongqing is this place, so it's called, people call it the 5D city, and it's that city that you can leave a building on the 20th floor, but it feels like you're on ground level. Don't know if that rings any bells. It's also the one where, yeah, you have these subways going through buildings, and you can catch, you know, the buses go sort of over the top of everything on a crazy little bridge thing. Crazy city. I think it's got a population of something like 20 million people as well, so absolutely huge. So Chongqing, that's another highlight. Then across from Chongqing you can go, once you've done in Chongqing, you can come across to this place that I'm not going to pronounce, but so this is sort of a stopgap. This is a city. I'm not sure if there's anything of sort of huge significance in the actual city. However, next to it, and they do this a lot with sort of travel photos, is they'll put pictures of things that aren't related to it. And there's a great one of, I think it's Beijing actually, I'll show you in a minute. From Zhangjiajie, you go north to this national forest park. So this was the inspiration for the Avatar mountains in the film Avatar, where they have the floating mountains. So that's pretty cool. Again, don't think this is it. This is just somewhere else, but that's awesome. So some good hikes around there. So you don't stay there. That's just a sort of day trip. I think it might be a bus or a train out. From here, the city, you can then get again, I believe this is all trains. I'm going to stop saying the mode of transport. You can go to this waterfall town called Furong Yuzen. So this, and along with another one that I'll come on to, but I believe this was the inspiration for the scenery in Kung Fu Panda. So that's pretty cool. That's what that looks. And there's loads of sort of small boutique hotels that you can stay at that overlook this waterfall that I'm really excited for. From here, now this one was a bit tricky, but you go down to this place called Guilin, and here, so this is actually pictured on the, you know, banknotes have nice pictures. Well, the banknotes in China have these hills as the backdrop. So there's, I don't know if this is the Li River itself, but there's the idea is you do this sort of, not in a boat like this, more substantial modern day vessel, but you do a boat cruise, and on that there is a mountain sort of south. It takes the whole day, but maybe this is the river you go down, but you go to a mountain. There's this reed flute cave, which as I understand is a cave, and then what people have done is put lights in it. I'm not sure how big it is or how cool it is. And there's one other activity that you can do in Guilin, and then keep going south. Well, I say south, it's actually southeast to Hong Kong. Again, this is just a placeholder image that's taking a good while to load there. Oh, it's not Beijing, I tell a lie. Does anyone recognize where this is? It's not Hong Kong, that's Mount Fuji, and this is the outskirts of Tokyo. So someone needs to do a bit of QA there. Anyway, in Hong Kong, we've got a couple of days there. Let's zoom in. What a treat. So Nan Lian Garden. This is presumably a beautiful and historic garden that used to belong to royalty or something like this. Very nice. And there's this place called Victoria Peak. So I'm going into the sort of details and the nitty gritty here actually, which is maybe a bit unfair, but Hong Kong is the big place to go, and then you can pick where to go in there. I've identified Victoria Peak as a really cool spot to go to. So I think you get cable carts up. Don't know if it's across the water. That'd be wild. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just up the hillside. And then you get panoramic views of the city. Also in Hong Kong, they have one of 8 Disneylands in the world. That looks like this Disneyland. Well, Hong Kong Disneyland. Very cool. Going to go there. Again, that's like a whole day trip, but very excited for that. From Hong Kong, and I'm assuming this will be high-speed maglev, something like this, you can go to Shanghai. Now, in Shanghai, you can see that I think this building is some sort of TV sky deck building, and then this might be this waterfront here, or where the photo was taken, but it's called the Bund, and that's a sort of fancy protected waterfront area with lovely views. In Shanghai, there's obviously loads and loads to do, but the bits that I've identified are Yew Garden, which looks really cool, and it just makes you wonder how this was built, you know, however many hundreds of years ago, because that looks awesome. Other things I've identified, the Pearl TV Tower, so it's obviously a huge part of the skyline. I believe it's an observation deck, and you can actually get up there, you know, pictures like this where you can see every building except the Pearl TV Tower would have you suggest that you can go up there. Last but not least, I've identified Disneyland Round 2. So there is 2 of the 8 Disneylands in the world in China, and yeah, we'll be going to them both to see what's what. Fireworks in the daytime, that is also a bold strategy there. They look somewhat better in the evening. How magical. There we go. Now, if you get your maglev out again, you can pop up to Beijing. So an interesting fact actually, if you look at the distance from Shanghai to Hong Kong to Beijing, they're about equidistant. This is 1,250 kilometers. That is 5% of the circumference of globe. Is just one leg. So this is 10% of the globe's circumference to go from there to there. And if you compare that to Europe, so the distance from Hong Kong to Shanghai is the equivalent of going London to Porto, London to Barcelona, London to Florence, London to Croatia, or was it London to Vienna? If you think of a sort of radial circle that I've just cast there, you know, that is not an insignificant journey, and that is just in the one country, which is wild. As I was saying, if you get your maglev out, you can pop up to Beijing, and then from Beijing, so this is actually one of the places that I want to go to. So this is the Forbidden City. Shines understand there's a whole lot of politics around, so we'll just nip that in the bud and not go into that bit. But from there, you can get a day tour to the Great Wall of China. Now, I find this really funny on maps because it's the Great Wall. It actually spans not hundreds of thousands of kilometers. It's not just the one spot, you know, it's a wall. It goes pretty far. So there's all different types you can go to. So the one I went to last year had a water park in it, and it was the wall was used as a reservoir to keep the water in. And next to that, there were loads of activities like water skiing and archery and camping and all that good stuff. You can then go to, this looks perhaps like a more dilapidated part of the wall. So obviously it's so long, they can't keep all of it in good condition. So you can go to some bits and have kilometers of the wall to yourself that you can walk if you can get access. So that's a nice day trip that you can do from Beijing. Within Beijing, there's also a few other spots to go to. So Beihai Park, I've not been to this one. I believe this is towards, nope, it is central. Maybe I just missed that. The Temple of Heaven, again, this is a huge, must be a UNESCO site of world beauty or what have you. Really cool. It's, believe it or not, it's not this empty, absolutely rammed. And there's a couple of other temples and historic buildings in Beijing. So I'm not sure if I actually went to the Summer Palace, but again, looks awesome. Very excited for that. So that sort of concludes the places that I've identified as the quote unquote must goes tos. And here are some of the other spots. So Huangshan, yeah, that's probably not far off. Mountain. So I believe these are also called the Yellow Mountains. So these sit sort of between Hong Kong and Shanghai. And supposedly it's just some of the best hiking that you can do in China. Very nice. There we go. There's also another set of mountains, which is that parking lot. Well, hey, so these are called, and you won't believe this, but the Rainbow Mountains, very original, and that sits towards the sort of northeast. So there was that the glass water part, and you go sort of towards Mongolia. Then if you go even further, you can get to Dunhuang, which this is similar to, from what I understand, Petra in Jordan. So I believe it was ancient monks that carved their accommodation into the rock face. Apparently this is also a really cool spot to go to, and well, not apparently, it does look awesome, but it's just sort of, in terms of travel time or effect, it's perhaps sort of loses out. Suzhou is outside of Shanghai. This is probably a bit more painful to dismiss. So this is a sort of river city or canal city. Just looks awesome, really cool, but I don't think I'll be able to fit this in, which is a shame. This is one of the more sort of upsetting ones, and I'm not sure I can say I've sort of seen everything, but very much close to it. And then the other, so there's actually two waterfall towns that I've not included on the sort of main route, but I can't remember the second one, but Wangshan Valley Town. Again, so this was a similar town to Furong Guzhen and is what inspired the sort of Kung Fu Panda Valley architecture. Look at that. That's just, it looks like a video game rendering. It is absolutely unreal. So that concludes the complete overview of all the hotspots in China. Now I'm going to go over to the tier lists maker to sort of review them all in one place. Okay, nice one. So I've set this up. So what we've got is a generic tier lists left to right, and then on the bottom we've got pictures of all the places that we've just looked at. What I'll do is I'll just rank everything and then give commentary if I think it's required. Pandas will obviously be top tier. I think this was the Summer Palace in Beijing. What's that? Is that Shanghai? Pretty cool. That's the Lookout Point in Hong Kong. Very cool. That is the Avatar Mountains. This was another park in Beijing. This was Gulin, the place with the river cruise. Disneyland. Ooh. See, this is like a full day out. Really good fun. It's difficult because if you think of the Pearl Tower here, this is, you know, maybe 2 hours max. Disneyland is something like 8 hours of roller coasters and, you know, games and nice food. So I'm actually going to put that in an S. Hongya Cave looks awesome. Probably more excited about Chongqing than Shanghai. So like there. Terracotta Warriors, UNESCO site of World Heritage and one of the 7 wonders of the world. That's probably going to be there. I think if I manage to do the sky hike, that will definitely be better. Arguably better, and if you rank it like that, definitely better than the pandas. Not sure if Shanghai or Hong Kong is more innately exciting, so these two are effectively drawing. But lastly, we have Furong Guzhen, the waterfall town, arguably going to be better than Pearl Tower, probably better than the terracotta warriors. Better than the pandas. Ooh, this is a bit of a better than that hike. Yeah, actually, I reckon, because this isn't an activity. This is, you know, this is just going to restaurants and milling around. So this could be, would I rather, yeah, I'd definitely swap it out for one of the Disneylands. Now, when people complete these, they sort of forget about bell curve distribution. So I'm not going to give a lecture on that, but essentially it means you should have most of your things in B and the fewest at S and D. So I need to rejig this slightly. So I've moved the Great Wall of China into a B tier and then the viewpoint in Hong Kong to C. I think I need to caveat and say that this, whilst this says D, it should be sort of D, really awesome. And it's, you know, some of the best stuff the country has to offer still. It's just that there is a lot of cool things. And if you rank them in order, some stuff has to be in front of other stuff, right? That is it for today. These are my predictions on the best things to see in China in rank order. It's going to break a few hearts, but there will be no more videos on Python in the near future. And I'll be swapping to short form content whilst I'm traveling, and then we'll flip back to progress in completing and reviewing every single beginner's Python course on the internet. Okay, final farewell now. Thanks for stopping by and have a wonderful day. Ta.